Hi everyone, I'm your host Ashmita Dhingra, as you all very well know, representing Digifish 3. And we have Pankaj Chawla here with us, who is the founder and CEO of MSME Strategy Consultants. So, Pankaj, it's a pleasure to have you today with us.
Thank you.
I think before we dive into the topic which is making the buzz today, is building resilient business lessons for the MSMEs, surviving the challenges majorly. So, if you could just give me an insight about your organization and how you got into this, I think we'll take it up from there.
Sure. So we are MSME Strategy Consultants. As the name suggests, it is micro, small and medium enterprises. That's the segment for which we exist. We are focused on providing strategy to organizations so that they can grow in this world, which is quite dynamic, so-called VUCA environment. And yes, thought through, structured, future-oriented. The idea is for all the entrepreneurs to have a stable lifestyle which could fit in and help them achieve their financial and non-financial goals by the timeline that they fix for themselves. That is what we exist for. We are close to a 3-year-old organization. I come from my MNC kind of an experience where I've worked on strategy. I'm chartered entrepreneur myself and a law graduate. So I thought this all experience should come in handy to micro, small and medium enterprises, and they should get benefited from it more than anyone else who could not afford expensive consultants who are providing services to the MNCs.
So, Pankaj, we're working with a lot of startups, SMEs, and MSMEs as well. I understand, in the ecosystem, 50% of the, funds actually come in from the SMEs, and the rest is obviously the MNCs sector. So, as it's growing, and there is a lot of startup ecosystem which is growing in different sectors, like a fintech is growing, a lot of people are getting funded, and a lot more, there is a lot of people who are getting together to form communities while they are, coming up with small and medium organizations. So how do you really think that, with the pace that the world is going, they actually see a growth, or there is a stagnancy that is going to come in the growth of a startup or a medium scaled enterprise?
Okay, so as per the data, it says that 90% of startups end their journey in less than 3 years.
Right.
And it is only balanced 10%, which could probably grow to 5 years and 10 years and beyond. Right. So there is a struggle there.
Right.
And that struggle is not because of the opportunity in the market. There's enough and more opportunity in the market. Right. The struggle is largely on knowledge side of carrying on business. I understand the spirit of entrepreneurs coming in and they kind of, in the strive to do more for the industry and make some buck out of it, are doing amazing jobs. There's amazing innovation happening. But the experience of how to run a business, how to make it profitable, right, cash positive, right, is something that's the key. Right. And if you don't do it in the initial years, you will dry out of funds. Right. As they say for last around 15 odd months, that funding winter is there and there's less funding happening in the market. Right. The funding winter exists because the focus of the investors and VCs has shifted from a number game to a profit game. They are looking at a unit economics. Are you making money on unit economics or not? Right. If at all you are, then it makes sense. There's a business case for them to invest in. Right. So that becomes the key. So for anyone who's not looking at unit economics, there is a struggle every time.
I agree, because I think, when we started as an organization in Dow 2014, we were working closely with a lot of startups, like even Magic Pin was a startup at that point of time. So we closely worked with them, and I agree with you, from a point of view where which funds need to be used where and how we kind of, grow our business in various horizon. It's something that we need to very closely monitor in whichever scale we are sitting at. So in terms of the startup ecosystem, it's very difficult of how much fund to acquire, and if we have acquired, how to kind of invest in the right sources, whether it is professionals that we're hiring, whether it is the execution, whether it is marketing, etc. So I'm sure it is something, difficult while you're strategizing for them as well. So what are the kind of key, to-dos that you give to a startup? Because I'm sure planning is a major part when it comes to the execution process. So what is it that you actually tell the startups which becomes like a to-do list for them to follow?
So number one, well-planned is half done. That's the key for them. If you could look at your business at the nth level of detail and plan your execution of the business accordingly, both in terms of doing the tasks and delivering it, and then obviously then using that money to acquire your customers. That plan in place to the level of detail gets the job done.
Right.
Second point is, how do you make sure that you execute it the right way? For an execution to happen, any organization need to do its own SWOT. The problem now lies is, since it's a startup, the entrepreneur ends up doing his or her own SWOT than a business SWOT.
Right.
So what happens, the individual's personality gets dived into business SWOT, and the dilution impacts the continuity and longevity of the business.
So true.
So the SWOT has to happen. Then you need to see that what are the weaknesses and threats that you have, and how would you overcome that. Like you said, if you need to hire a professional, for example, is a tech entrepreneur who's very good at technology but not good at finance, that would come in either a weakness or a threat. Then that is where you need a professional. You just don't need a professional for the heck of it just because everyone has it.
Correct.
So that SWOT defines where to invest money in.
Right.
And that will define your strengths as well. So for example, your strength as an organization's entrepreneur or founder is that you are very good at marketing, but not good at sales. Then you need to fix something in sales.
Right.
How would you do that? You would have to put processes to marketing, which is what you're good at, so that this becomes an automated engine to work. And you spend your energies into sales. Maybe hire a professional to support you on a part-time basis or full-time basis. But then this is how you need to fix one after the other, pieces of the puzzle. And make your organization system-driven organization than a person-driven organization.
Right. I think because it's easy said than done. When you are starting up your own venture, then there is a lot of, good and the bad that somebody needs to think about. And the major evil, of course, is financial crutches or, the money coming in. But there is also an evil where, how much would I be able to deliver and what's the kind of timeline that we'll be able to deliver. So meeting a lot of startups, even today, the major trouble, is not finance for them probably. It's the kind of system that self-driven is something which is missing today. Because we have a lot of young entrepreneurs coming into picture. We have a lot of people who are having their own family ventures coming into the segment of an medium-scale enterprise. Growth is a factor which is missing for them. The kind of motivation is something which is missing. So what are the kind of things that, and you rightly said, the SWOT analysis happens for them rather than the business. So how do you really think that, you were able to shift in that motive from yourself to the business and talking about the business ROI than your own, excellency in terms of whatever field you are in? How do you kind of shift that?
Okay, so you mentioned two things. One is the SWOT shift from a person to a business. And second is on how do entrepreneurs think of their probably challenges in life. And this is a myth buster which I have been focusing on in the entire journey which I have so far, that finance is not a problem in your business.
Right.
Your business does not it does not need finance. Your business needs strategy to make money. Your business needs a thought process which can generate an engine which can give you cash flow and then ultimately profitability. The number of queries which I get, 90% of them give their one requirement. I need money and I will do everything else.
Correct.
I will fix the world if I had been given enough and more money.
Correct.
And that's where I tell them it's a myth. Your business needs
True. Very true. Very true.
just the strategy. The business model, the revenue model has to be amazingly well, which makes it an engine to generate money for you.
Right.
If you can fix that, money is not a problem. The young entrepreneurs, like you said, they would struggle at a point in time on this. The challenge is they don't seek help at the time they start the business. They seek help maybe 18 to 24 months later when they've exhausted 70-80% of their money. There's pressure from the family that you've taken enough from us. Now we'll have to, call it a day and either earn something out of the business or we're just not investing anything in it.
Right.
So when you are running against time of maybe 3 to 6 months, 10 months kind of a timeline, then under pressure will always take wrong decisions, which is what happens.
Right.
So the help is required before starting the business. Like an initiative which I've started recently, there are a lot of incubation centers and a lot of government agencies, the Ministry of MSME calling me for the talks and all of that to express my thoughts on how the entrepreneur journey should be and how should an entrepreneur think. What I've started doing myself is I've started to go to universities and teach these students what's the value of planning in advance. While the seed is there in their mind of being an entrepreneur, let me educate them there itself, because it is the generation that we are looking forward to.
True.
And Indian economy is today and onwards is based on MSMEs. More than 30-40% of GDP of India comes from MSMEs. So this has to grow big. So the focus has to be on the level when the thought or a seed of an entrepreneur starts to build in. That's the journey which, as I said, I've kind of started on. Coming to the second point of how do you differentiate between individual and the business? What? You will have to look at running the business if you were not there in the business tomorrow.
Right.
How would it function?
Right.
If you are not there and the business functions well, how would that SWOT be? That is the starting point of you thinking about your business independently. And you mentioned family businesses. Family businesses work generations after generations after generations only when they've thought of themselves beyond the business.
Correct.
For all the family businesses in the Indian history, you see, the people who have thought about their existence in the business, they've not run many years.
Agreed.
So you'll have to think critically about yourself and assume from day one that system has to outgrow you. If system does not outgrow you, you will be thrown out of the system some day or the later. It could be system throwing you out through investors coming in, or you running out of funds and then going out because I don't have money, then let me now look for a job, basis my education, all of that. So that's the starting point. These are all probably seeds that one should think of and, probably make it grow, water it more, think over it, mull over it on a daily basis, and come out with a plan.
Right. Because when, COVID hit us, there were a lot of startups that had started pre-COVID, and then, of course, there were a lot of startups that started post-COVID. So pre-COVID ones practically shattered for a lot of reasons. We saw a lot of products coming, which a lot of restaurants coming in. Then there were a lot of people who were serving into food delivery applications, etc. So all of that was pre-COVID. But during COVID, everybody kind of realized that it's hit us hard, and we don't know whether we're going to see the day tomorrow or not. Then post-COVID, there were many startups who came into picture in a lot more segments. Like we had, we had services, again, like a Swiggy doing really well, like a Milk Basket doing phenomenally well post this thing. But of course, these were corporates. There were a lot of medium and small scale startups which started applications such as a delivery application or FMCG kind of products and fashion-based e-com portals, etc., which did really well because people were just sitting at home. We did not really have a lot to do. Post that also for a while, people were scared of going out, and but the spend was high, and we understood that there's no barrier for people to spend if the product or the kind of application is something that they're liking. So according to you, pre-COVID and post-COVID, what is the influence of technology on the startup and the medium-scaled enterprises that has caused a revolutionary effect at both the sides?
Yeah, so technology has played an amazing role in the startup industry, right? Pre-COVID as well, right from maybe 10 odd years till today, and it will continue to play a role. COVID was a turning point. So obviously the dependence on technology increased post-COVID, or rather in COVID, and people realized that now you cannot go to office.
True.
Right, you're stuck, but business cannot stop. You have to earn money and you have to, make your ends meet. So people start to, embrace technology more. And this is where the subject of today of resilience come into picture. Technology has been such a factor which has made organizations more resilient than they were before that. You cannot depend on a human being for such cases, because you would not expect your employee to come to office, putting their life in danger. You'd have to put something in place, which is where, as an example, Zoom kind of boomed that very time.
Correct.
They launched in no time and they were doing amazing.
Right.
So you had a technology where a person could sit at home and then can do work from there. So technology is an enabler. But at the same time, since it is an enabler, which means it is a tool, important for any tool in your life is that you should know how to use it. It's like a knife.
True.
If you don't use it right, it will cut your own self.
True.
So you need to understand how to use technology and where to use technology, how to get benefited out of it. Like you took an example of Swiggy and Zomato and all of that. despite technology, they were not making profit so long
Correct.
because they had the tool, but they didn't have the model which could make them at a unit level profitable.
True.
So technology, yes, is an enabler, added humongous value, and will continue adding more, and will give innovative products to market. You should know how to use it.
Right.
That's the key,
Right.
and it is a game changer.
Right.
I was reading somewhere. It said that the artificial intelligence will not take anyone's job away. It is the person who knows artificial intelligence will take
Correct.
the job away. So you should know how to use technology so that you can make or have an upper edge from someone else.
Right. A very good point, actually. AI, when came into picture, it kind of came as a bomb to everybody, whether it was the startup ecosystem or whether even the MNCs. I mean, people were really scared that, whether my job will be there, content writers, graphic designers, people in the tech world, which even your web developers, everybody was really scared of what's going to happen when we're talking about AI. It's really taking away jobs and all of that. Where I remember a startup founder, I've forgotten his name, but a startup founder practically got up in the conference and he said, what is AI going to do for us? AI at the end of the day is something that we guys have made. It's just happened to us. It's just that we have made it, so we know how to control it. If we are giving it, for example, 500 content pieces, it can go to 5,000, but it can't take away your job because you are the one who's curating it for you. So, very well said. When you are making your own startup, you should know somewhere or the other what are your strong points and how do you execute it, and which is the way, even if you're using technology, which is the right way to kind of use it. There are a lot of MSMEs who come up to us and talk about, okay, we can't do our SWOT analysis, okay, do it for us. I think it's more important, sitting on the opposite end today, that it's easier for me to do a SWOT analysis of an organization from the outside. But at the end of the day, you are the owner of your own brand, and you are the owner of, people who you're going to hire at the end of the day. So till the time you don't really know what's going to happen, nobody else is going to do that for you. So when, you are approached by people in terms of, give me a strategy, tell me what to do and how to do it, how do you really kind of, compliment into it that, how do you really think I can tell you exactly what you need to do? You need to first give me a brief of, how things are supposed to be. Because for me, when somebody comes up and say that, okay, I have a startup, but I don't know what to do. I have a marketing budget, I have everything, but I don't really know how to do. You take care of it. At the end of the day, it's your brand. You need to tell me what you want to do, whether you want to be, selling it door to door, or whether you want to, kind of prepare an application, or whether you have that kind of product that is going to sell. If we have actually seen products in terms of wild marketing that even, no offenses, but even the product that you really think is not good performs really well to consumers, and the product which you think is wow, consumers reject it. So, but it's the kind of drive that is present with these entrepreneurs and their teams that really make you do something for themselves and cater. So coming back to that, how do you really, kind of cater to questions like that Pankaj, tell us, what to do. We really don't know how to do. We don't really know how to do a strategy, what to do. We've done something till now. Now what next? How do you kind of deal with those questions?
Yeah, so that's a good question. And it happens quite a lot of times,
Right.
where people come in and they'll say, I've got this much of budget, or I will invest this money into a business. You tell me which business it should be.
Right.
And I'm like, how can I tell you? You'll have to just tell me, answer a few questions. So we've got a questionnaire prepared for every entrepreneur. We ask them a few specific questions about their life, what they want to do, and how is it that they want to reach the place they want to reach. And then if they want to do it through technology as a critical element or tech-based startup, or they're just using technology as an enabler to ensure that they sell their product well.
Right.
So that's how we differentiate. Once that is done, we help people identify what are their goals as their personal financial goals. Once we jot them down for them, for their personal financial goals, because at the end of the day, your business goals is a function of your personal financial goals, and you have to see the two different.
Right.
So we'll probably work with them on their personal financial goals. Once those goals are done, then we'll say, okay, how and what does it mean for your business financial goals? We'll help them do their business financial goals. With the business financial goals, we'll marry what product and service they are interested in, and then we'll say, now if this is the goal that you want to achieve, this is the product or the service that you have, let's now brainstorm on this. Now find out if there are any USPs available in the product or service. So you want to probably refine it more to add value which people will appreciate. At the end of the day, customer has to pay for it.
True.
So unless you get into that niche and give a USP, people will not buy it. Once you've identified the niche, then you say, okay, now let me do a customer segmentation of it. Once you do the customer segmentation, then you start to roll out and make those plans of then executing it. And then it doesn't end there. This is the subjective and the objective part of the exercise. But then basis these plans are made, and after every month initially and then quarterly and a half yearly later on, we do the analysis of what happened in the past, which is like postmortem of how did you kind of perform basis what you had set yourself for,
Right.
for on a monthly basis or a quarterly basis.
Right.
And then we analyze that on a regular basis. We'll course correct what did not perform well, which element, which are the drivers which did not work well. For example, a simple layman example, my revenue is a function of number of customers into the revenue per customer. Simple. If someone has to look at revenue number of X and they are at half of X, we'll then go down whether it's number of customers is causing problem or the price per customer or both. Then we'll go to why of it. We'll ask why, then why did this happen, why did this happen, all of that, till the time we get to the root cause.
Right.
And then we start to fix it from there.
Right. So, Pankaj, when we're saying we're building up a business or we're building up, an organization, I'm sure team is something which is a very important ingredient for any good organization and any implementations. So, when you talk about, you closely work with entrepreneurs, and it is in today's time, it's tough to have that perfect team to execute. Even, as I said, even if the product is not nice, if the team is wow and they kind of execute things well, it turns out to be great, and vice versa. So how do you kind of, give the importance of a great team to the people that you're meeting out? And there is a dearth of people where they're genuinely working towards a product, and there's dearth as well as there's plenty, to kind of be loyal towards any kind of one particular brand or organization that they are in. So what is the kind of, trick or a mantra that you kind of give to entrepreneurs who are there and who are, kind of thinking of a growth overall, to have a team which is for them, by them, with them all the time, to nurture that particular organization?
Yeah, so for them possible, by them possible, with them may not always possible.
Right.
Let's be frank about it.
Very true.
Right. So the idea of having a good team is an amazing idea, and one should strive for it, do whatever possible to achieve that.
Right.
But people will leave.
Right.
So you can't stop it.
True.
The thing that you can put to motion is to have structure around what do they do.
Right.
Why do they do what do they do? Build performance matrices for them,
Right.
which helps you measure minutest of the details of their performance, so you can identify which part of their role is of extreme importance to you, which part of their role is something which is a system-driven role, and there's a slack.
Right.
And you could probably remove that slack of it. Or that slack in itself is a demotivating factor for an employee, and that's where the person is like not interested to do that job. Because I am okay with 70% of my job, but this 30%, creates a distraction in my head.
Correct.
So you have to fix that for them, and then create a culture and environment where people work as a good, happy kind of team, and they work hand in hand. Which means a lot of work has to be done on culture. A lot of work has to be done on team development, which is providing them enough resources for their self-training, their maybe courses enrollment, maybe behavioral training at times, maybe training on what culture could be very small thing is writing an email. And we're talking about MSMEs where people may not always know English as much as they would want to do their job. We'll have to look at things differently. Like I'll share an example with you. I made this happen with a client. There were staff members who did not know English, and they had to eventually speak to the clients in English, because that was though MSME, but a very niche client, and HNIs they were addressing. So we made 2 small changes, and that did wonders for them. I said, from tomorrow, the official language in office is Hindi. Just explain it to your customers.
True.
So that fear of speaking in English goes off.
Correct.
And they were amazing people who could message the thing well, could explain what the issue is, who could explain how the service is. Just made it very clear that we are a Hindi-speaking organization. This is our official language.
Correct.
And the customer feedback was, wow, I can speak what I want to speak in the language and the person also understands.
Correct.
The second change that we did was, for all the email writing which was to happen and that has to happen in English, we hired a dedicated person just to do a written communication on English. That solved the entire problem. The team was happy.
Correct. Correct.
A small change,
Right.
but made an amazing impact.
Right.
So you'll have to take care of your resources. You'll have to find innovative ways of working. You'll have to make sure that people are happy what they're doing. Because see, in this case, the person there was absolutely happy with the job. But the frustration was, I cannot speak English, so I'm not good at job.
Right.
And the entrepreneur knew that the person was amazing.
Correct.
Just did that change for her.
Correct.
It made wonders. So you'll have to take care of that. Having said that, systems will help. That I've said it many times to a lot of clients. Systems run businesses, and employees run systems.
Right.
If you can just imbibe this in your organization, you will not face as many challenges as you face today. And that is what is my mantra to all the audience, viewers and listeners. Systems run businesses and people run systems. That is how it should go.